Rob Tubber here for Boxing News, joined by Ben Shalom in the immediate aftermath of Chris Eubank Jr.'s stoppage win over Liam Smith. First and foremost, Ben, great fight.
Great fight, great night, great atmosphere. Two warriors. Another unexpected result, same as January. I think it was dominant. Liam never got going, it was sluggish, but I think people don't realise how much at this level preparation, both in camp, outside of camp, so much goes into it. It was such a tough camp for him. Not making excuses for it, but he did everything he could to be fit. He went through so much. And in a similar way to Chris in January, we knew Chris's preparation was terrible for that fight, and that made the difference. And yeah, Liam really didn't get going, but credit to Chris because he came through so much and had to come through so much doubt from the first fight. And I think it says a lot about him as a man. He could have taken a lot of other fights, and he's always been told that he takes the easy fights and the easy way out. This wasn't the easy way out. Coming back here at the Manchester Arena with that sort of atmosphere again, and it was Smith Eubank, and he sort of accepted it, and I saw a different side. He was humble, and he worked really, really hard, and he wasn't complacent. And I do believe that was a career best performance. I thought he was fantastic.
Obviously, we want to kind of focus on Chris, but Liam has spoken quite openly there, and you've just mentioned there about issues in camp. We saw him roll an ankle or two throughout the course of the fight, and he mentioned cutting the weight. How much did you think those two factors affected his performance on the night?
Yeah, honestly, because he had the injury, it meant that he had to lose a lot of weight, and he got through it, and it took a lot to get through it, and I'm sure he was still carrying it a bit, but it meant I saw him 2 weeks before the fight, and I don't think he'll mind me saying it, I couldn't believe the size of him. And I was thinking, do we need a couple of extra pounds? But he's a professional. He said, Ben, I've agreed 160, that is what it is, and he lost the weight dramatically. The check weight on Wednesday was way below what I expected. I couldn't believe it. It gave me a little confidence that maybe I was seeing things and maybe he was ready. But yeah, he lost a lot of weight very quickly, and as I say, not making excuses at all. He won't want me to make excuses, but he was sluggish, and it wasn't the Liam Smith we know. And but Chris Eubank Jr was really, really good tonight.
Appreciate it's very soon after the fact, but where does this leave Liam Smith in his career now? Look,
I think in a similar way to when Chris lost in January, a lot of people will say, oh, he's finished and this and that. He's not finished. It was a really, really tough period, and he didn't want to lose this rematch, and he didn't want to let anyone down, and he didn't want to cancel again. I remember when we postponed the first fight, he was devastated. He couldn't believe it. He was calling people up because of tickets and this and that, and that's the last thing you want to do. He's a people's person. But he did everything to be here, and he got here, and he knew he wasn't right, but he was the ultimate professional, never, ever, ever complained once. But yeah, he needs time to recover and prepare properly and think about what's next. But yeah, this isn't the end.
Trilogy was mentioned in the post-fight press conference. Again, I appreciate it's very soon after the fact, but is that something that you'd entertain?
I think it is, but I think both guys need a bit of time to just think about what's next. I think Liam will feel it's 1-1. Liam will feel his first fight was as conclusive as Chris's second fight. They were both conclusive, and yeah, I think it was a very, very well prepared Liam Smith the first time against a not very well prepared Chris Eubank Jr, and then complete vice versa tonight.
Just going to run through the rest of the card. Obviously, a full card of action tonight. Starting off with Azim, another 10 rounds in the bank for him against a good opponent in Aram Fanyan.
No, Aram Fanyan is a top quality operator. Like you could see in there, this guy is seasoned, knows what he's doing, came to win. This was his big night. For me, more than European level, he's that good. And Adam had to cope with the pressure. I do think he was a little bit nervous tonight. He's still a baby, and he's fighting a very, very top quality boxer who's done 150 rounds versus his 25, and he's got to try and outbox him in front of that sort of crowd. He won every round. I'd like to see him throw more combinations, but that will come. But a supremely talented fighter that is taking challenges to prepare him for where we need to go, and he wants to prepare for world level, and that's what tonight was. It was learning against a very, very good fighter on a very big stage.
Before he gets to world level, Frank Petitjean for the European title?
I think so.
Elsewhere on the card, we saw Frazer Clarke return with a stoppage win over Dave Allen, pulled out after the 6th round. What did you make of Frazer's performance?
I actually thought he performed really well. I really did. I think it was hard for him to hit to the body because of what was going on, and I think maybe there was. I'll have to watch it back because it's hard at ringside, but I think it was difficult for him because he was catching Dave a lot, but Dave's a tough guy, and he wanted to stay in there, but his jaw was cracked in the end. There was no chance, and I know Chris has said something about he quitting. His jaw was out of line; he couldn't even speak. But Frazer was fighting a very, very popular fighter tonight, and in a high-profile fight, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of expectation. He needs to show his levels above. I believed he did, and yeah, very happy with it.
Seems the general feeling around Frazer's performance was, it was a profile fight, as you've just mentioned there. Dave Allen, of course, well known, but potentially a dip down in levels from Marius Vac, who's obviously a very game experienced guy. Where next for Frazer Clarke? Obviously, we've seen Fabio Wardley and David Adelaide looking like they might get it on towards the end of the year. Where does that leave Frazer? Yeah,
I hope they do get it on. I think he is eyeing that, but obviously since that whole saga, he has boxed twice. They've still not boxed, and I just want him to be active. He's a heavyweight with not a lot of fights in the professional game, and I want him to be active and keep stepping up. And as you say, Marius Watt was a much on paper is a top quality boxer versus Dave Allen, who's not been at that level for a long time. But as you said, profile wise, pressure wise, box office, Dave Allen had been there plenty of times before Frazer Clarke hadn't, and that's what he'll get from tonight. But key is to keep him active, keep him building, keep him getting experience, and he's definitely now ready for those fights. But obviously we'll see when they get it on.
And final one from me, a shocking stoppage win early in the fight for Jack Cullen.
Yeah. Really happy for him. And it just shows again, like a lot of people were saying he was finished, and he was coming to the end, and he's worked really hard with Michael, and he's a top quality trainer. And as Mark Jeffers came on our show and did, of course, he upset against Zach Shelley, and he's done it again, and it's fantastic. And it was a great fight. Sold a lot of tickets. Feel for Heffron because that will really, really hurt him tonight. But really happy for Cullen because he's just had a career-defining performance really, and he sets himself really up for some big fights.
Ben Shalom, thanks for speaking to Boxing News.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.